And there's a time delay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Live with Lisa, your chance to do Q&A with me and my special guests every single Wednesday at 11 Pacific right here on LinkedIn Live. For those of you who follow me consistently, I just want to let you know that I've been out for the last month, so I haven't done this in a few weeks because I had to go have some stupid surgery, but it is done, taken care of, and I am back and hitting the ground running this week, and I'm super excited to be here, especially given that my guest this week is Steve Greenberg. Steve, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, to be your first guest post surgery. I feel very honored to be part of that. You look great, so I can tell you through StreamYard, I can tell you look really well. So I think you're on the mend.
A week ago, not so much, let me tell you. And I appreciate, Steve, that you were flexible. I know we were scheduled for last week, and I really do appreciate your flexibility. I know how busy you are. But for those of you just joining us, in a moment, we'll open this up to Q&A, but you are welcome at any time to list your questions in the chat, and we will take them all in the order that they come in. And as an introduction to Steve, for those of you who didn't get the email or get a chance to see his background, Steve is a product scout. He's the author of Gadget Nation and author and contributor on NBC's Today Show and other TV stations around the United States, all featuring new innovations. He's also a host of a brand new show on YouTube called What the Heck Is That? The Gadget Game Show. And I'll be posting some information about that shortly, so you can go check that out. But Steve specializes really in publicizing innovation products, gadgets, and technology, and he's always searching for cool new gadgets and showcasing those innovative products in print, online, on television, and so forth. So if you want to learn more about how to get your product featured, get that publicity, of course, this is for finished products. This is not just for license. This actually doesn't fit into licensing at all. But if you want to learn more about that, feel free to ask those questions because Steve's your guy today. Steve is also from time to time, when the product is a good fit, he's made it very clear to me, product scout. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. In fact, that's actually a really good place to start. So for those of you just tuning in, feel free to drop your questions in there and we'll get to those in just a moment. Steve, why don't we start by you, though, just kind of telling me a little bit, we'll compartmentalize because you've got the scout side of things and then the publicity and the various ways that you have managed to optimize that for innovation. So beginning with as a scout, what types of products do you typically work with or are you looking for?
A lot. So, you're only as good as licensing deal as the people that are going to buy the license. So, getting a deal is worthless unless it's a deal with someone who actually is going to put energy and money into taking your product and bringing it to the next level. So I have a few contacts, not going to brag and say millions, just a few who are people who've actually reached out to me saying, look, we're looking for products. And if you see something you like that looks interesting, bring it to us and, maybe we can do a licensing deal. So I've been doing that over the years. I've had some success with that. And generally, it's products that would ring well on an infomercial. It has to be to a broad group. It can't be very nichey. It can't be just for a certain group of seniors or whatnot. It has to be for a broad group. But if your product fits into that category and you do hold the patent on it, or at least you've started the process of owning the intellectual property, the thoughts behind it and the design patent or whatever it takes in that specific case, then it's something we should talk about. And really, it's kind of a yay or nay as far as I'm concerned. I don't actually do any paper between the person. If you show me the idea, I show it to my people. If they like it, they'll cut a deal with you. If that works out, then I get some compensation from them, not from you. So you nothing, and it's just a great place to hopefully take your product to the next level. But I have to tell you, they're very picky, and I may get a bunch of thumbs down. And then you may go off someplace else and, hit a home run someplace else. And my feelings aren't hurt. In fact, it's just the opposite. I'd be thrilled for you. So I can only do what I can do. Right. So it's a limited thing. But I have to say, for me personally, when it does work out, it is a nice chunk of change that comes in my direction. So I'm happy about it. And hopefully the inventor is happy as well. So
Great.
that's
Okay, so when you say infomercial, for those who may not know what that is, we're talking about those short or long form commercials or print, where anything that has the 1-800 call to order now, because you're selling direct to the consumer, right?
Right, exactly. So it has to be a product that fits that kind of niche. Not that these people do that exclusively, but I find products that seem to will do well in that world get picked up by my people faster. So if your product is very nichey, it's small, it's for just removing a pit from an avocado, that's a lovely product, but it doesn't have the
mass appeal.
Yeah, that you want from something that they want. So that's sort of one of the limiting factors. And every once in a while, I'm surprised too. I had a product that did kind of have a small niche, and it actually did go someplace. So I'm sometimes surprised too. But generally, it's mass appeal for it to get to the next level. And you got to keep in mind, these companies are investing their time, energy, and money into moving your product along. So they need a sure thing. First, by the way, they do a little test of it, then another little test, another little test. As it moves up the food chain, if it keeps doing well, then they'll put some real money into it. But if they don't see it doing well, it's over.
Yeah. Is there a price point for the types of products that fit best in that category?
I would say under $40. Anything over 40 isn't going to go anywhere with the folks that I deal with. And that's even true for my TV stuff. I'd say it has to be, for the Today Show, it has to be under $100. So these price points are very important. Very expensive things are great, and they do very well out there, but they don't do well in my little world.
Because you're dealing with short form, and short form, you can only sell something up to about a $39.99 price point in 2 minutes, right? Yeah. Direct response is a great way to go for new inventions because they educate the consumer on the problem and the solution better than just putting a new product on a shelf where someone has not had that education, the benefit of it. But the downside, to your point, is it has to be a mass market type product, something that makes sense for them to invest in because it's so expensive, right? To do that kind of advertising.
Absolutely, and it has to solve a problem that really needs to be solved. There are a lot of products out there that solve a problem that, frankly, I didn't even know was a problem. And so they don't do very well. But if it's a problem like, oh yeah, that really is an issue, and then this does solve it, then you're on the road to really, some success.
Awesome. Okay, so switching gears, Today Show. Wow, you have my dream job. I mean, I would love nothing more than to go out and find and hunt for these awesome new gadgets and then go on television and explain to people how wonderful they are. I would feel like I'm helping so many people in so many ways, not to mention having a blast doing it.
Well, it is fun. I'm not going to lie about that. It's far from the dream gig that you're describing. First of all, I have part of why my explanation is important because there are a lot of limitations here. I hunt the world for products for a specific theme. The themes are sometimes not ones that I want, it's ones they want. And then they know the Today Show viewer, and so they're looking at products that viewer, what she wants to see. And that may not be what I think she wants to see, so there's a little disagreement about that.
Wow. Okay, so that throws a little wrench in the wheel, right?
So the way I work it, and it's changed over the years, I've been doing this for like 10 years or plus now. And originally I used to keep folders and files and cut things out and print and I had this massive bookkeeping system, which I have since happily thrown away. Now, I basically, when I find out what my segment theme is, I put it on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, my fan page side of Facebook. I put what I'm looking for there. I also put it on ProfNet and Harrow, which is Help a Reporter Out. I put it out on those 5 platforms. I say I'm looking for, in fact, I'm going to give you my next topic. You're the first people to hear about it because I only found out about an hour ago or so. Pet gadgets. Pet gadgets.
I am hearing about pets every time I turn around. I'm hearing about pets.
All of a sudden they reach that piece. I have one that I put out there for keeping warm gadgets, and that one I've kind of like finished collecting stuff on, and they now have to pick what they want. But the next one I have to do is called Pet Gadgets, which I literally not even a solid hour since I've talked to them about it.
What's a pet gadget? What would a gadget be? Like a brush, a comb, a clipper?
Could be a brush, but it has to be kind of different. Maybe, kind of glove thing. Sure. Or, I mean, one year I did a pet gadget that was a leash, but had a built-in watering thing for the dog. So you could take the dog and then open it up and give the dog some water while you were taking him or her for a walk. But something new, obviously, so it can't be those I just mentioned. It's got to be new. It's got to be fun to demonstrate. It's got to be under $100, which in this category is probably pretty easy. And it's got to have a little wow to it. It has to maybe a little humor to it. That's kind of what we're looking for. It has to be good television. They're less interested in, helping and more interested in entertaining. So you got to keep that in mind when you're submitting.
It's a news program. It's a news format, but it's still entertaining.
And especially my segment is farthest thing from news possible. I'm on the 4th hour with Hoda and Jenna, and it's really about making the 4 to 6 minutes of my time go quickly and nobody leaves. They actually track the numbers. If you can keep the audience from the beginning to the end, you're a success. The audience goes down during your time, you're toast. So it's really about being entertaining and informative. I mean, hopefully that holds people's interest. So as I said, I put out on those 5 platforms what I'm looking for. I get a whole bunch of answers, usually about 200. I narrow it down to about 40. I send the 40 to the producers, and the producers pick the 6 or 8 they want me to showcase. And that's how it works. So it's a rough, contact sport. I mean, it's just, nobody, I always got to get a lot of, people, please. And it's out of my control. I wish I had more control in it, because sometimes I agree. Sometimes someone's suggestion is terrific, but the producers, and it's not just one, it's like 4, have to pick the ones. And if they don't pick it, it's not happening. And I rarely can I change their minds. So that's how it is. It's kind of like a crapshoot. You put it in, but for me to put it in, you have to give me a little short pitch about the product, give me a link, the price point, and a low res image. And I cut and paste it, put into a form that Today Show's created, gets submitted to them, and then they come back with their picks.
All right. I want to ask a follow-up question to that. But before I do, just to remind our audience, feel free to drop your questions. I'll get to them. In fact, right after this next question, we'll start scanning. And welcome to all of you who are joining us today. Steve, when someone has, first of all, right now you're looking for pet gadgets, right? So just to
literally, you're the first people. This group is the first to hear about it. It's exclusive. I mean, later today, I'll put it out on all those 5 platforms. But right now, it's just on Lisa's show. This is
That's awesome.
I'm looking for pet gadgets for the Today Show. Now, for these things to qualify, they have to be in the world of retail of some kind. Either it's being sold on a website or being sold in a store, but it can't be just an idea, or you haven't started a website yet for it. You have them in the basement, or they're coming in next week. It's got to be, the consumer has to be able to buy it right now.
How much inventory do they need to have for this?
That's a great question. I get that question a lot, and I don't really have a solid answer. I would say you need at least 700-800 of whatever it is, because that's, I mean, I know sales could be that much, but it could be more than that. You have to be ready to you can't just have a few on hand. Now, you may not sell that many, or you may sell a lot. It's very random. I've watched products go, where the owners have called and complained, the website crashed, blah, 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 blah. And others where they complain like, we only sold, 65. I'm like, what can I tell you? It is what it is. Sometimes, Kathy Lee used to be, it used to be Hoda and Kathy Lee, and she could have a big difference. She'd hold up a product and go, oh my God, I'm crazy about this. It went through the roof. Or very often she was like, this is stupid, Steve. And it didn't do that well. So she had a lot of power in what happened. But without her there, Jenna and Hoda both are like, oh, great. That's
pretty positive on everything. That's good to know. All right. So welcome, everyone. Julia asks, Hi, Lisa and Steve. Is there an industry type that does better, i.e. organization, housewares, pet, that sort of thing?
Okay, well, for the first thing we talked about, licensing, my little world is pretty much housewares. So I don't do a lot of sporting goods. I don't do a lot of, basically, it's got to be like in the house gadgety thing. Kitchen does very well. Bathroom does okay. But housewares for the most part, I would say. For television, it's really anything that the topic is. So like we just have pets coming up. The one before this was keeping warm. So it's really all over the place. And the only common denominator in the case of the ones on television are that it has to be, available to purchase now and under $100.
That's the publicity side of things.
The publicity side of things. Licensing, I think, has to be under $40, frankly, and it needs to be more housewares. Because if it's outside the comfort zone of these people I know, then it's not going to go anywhere.
And it's not a pay to play to be on the Today Show, right?
No. It costs you absolutely nothing. The only thing it's going to cost you is the product. You're going to have to send 1 or 2 or 3 samples to me or the studio or something like that. That's the only cost to you. There's no cost. I don't get paid. It doesn't cost you anything.
Right. Okay, Juliet, that didn't answer your question. Please let me know and we'll circle back on that. Brian, did you say products have to be market ready or already in the market? And so like we were saying, I don't know if you missed this part, but they have to be meant for Product Scout. They don't need to be market ready to submit. But for publicity, they do, because they take a piece of those sales, don't they?
Well, that's a kind of a new thing. So there's kind of that's a great question. So Today's Show, so I've been doing this for 10 years. I'd say for the last 8 years, it was they just put it out there and people made their money, and that's great. In the last 2-3 years, they've tried to get a piece of the sale. And they don't do it in a very overt way. They do it in a clever way, usually using Amazon. So if you're selling your product on Amazon, you may tell me, put it up as utensil.com, but they're gonna find it on Amazon, and they're gonna put up the Amazon site, and they're gonna make sure they get a piece of that sale. So, and then of course the people call me up and they're mad at me, and I'm like, well, this is the new world we live in. The Today Show is already making billions and zillions of dollars, and yet they want more. So they'll try and take a piece of the sale, but the reason 10 years ago that they don't want to advertise something on TV and not advertise, but promote something or discuss it or showcase it on TV, only to have viewers say, well, I can't get it. Where is it? How do I find it? They don't want that. They want, they want everybody to be very happy and quiet and calm. So it's like, if you see this thing, you can go and buy it right now. You can buy it online here, or you can buy it at Hammer & Schlemmer, or you can go buy it at Bed Bath & Beyond, or wherever it happens to be.
So this is kind of a question, but a statement that's worth sharing also, because she loves you. And I'm seeing, thank all of you for all of your comments and showing the love. I'm as thrilled to have Steve on as you are today. Steve, I read your book, Gadget Nation, and I've wanted to contact you and send you one of my gadgets. I'm a Canadian, but my product is made in the USA. And that actually brings up a good point. Do any of these products need to be made in the USA?
No, I mean, it's nice, and sometimes we say it because it's a fun thing to say, but the Today Show doesn't care. I mean, I'm sure I've done segments where every single product has come from China. I mean, that's just the nature of the world we live in. I mean, maybe one day the segment theme will be gadgets made in the USA, but that hasn't happened yet.
Right. Okay. Well, Donna, here's how you can contact Steve. If you go to thegadgetgameshow.com, you can learn more about the program, or you can connect with Steve on his LinkedIn account and submit there. Is there another portal, Steve, that you would send anybody to for the licensing side of things?
I think if you go to stevegreenberg.tv, you can reach me there, but I have a contact button on anything you find, so you can always reach out to me, and I pretty much answer everybody. So unless you are,
I don't know how you do it.
Unless you're very mean to me, then I don't. But if you're relatively polite, you'll get a response from me. A lot of times,
just relatively.
Yeah, relative. I'm not looking for very polite. A little bit of polite.
I'm asking you to be very polite. He's saying that.
And I think kind of related to this down here is that one of the reasons I launched this game show, which we haven't talked about yet, but we will, is that it gives me another platform to help mom and pop garage inventors. So today's show is kind of a crapshoot. Of course, there's paid opportunities to put stuff on TV, but that's expensive, and a mom and pop can't do that. I'm not writing another book right now. So during the pandemic, I was like, I really want to create a platform to showcase new products. So I said, what about a YouTube game show? So that's exactly what I did. And so I launched this thing called, what the heck is that? There's the sign. What the heck is that? You can check it out easily if you go to gadgetgameshow.com and then you click on YouTube. And in fact, all of you, I don't know how many people we have listening, but I expect to have that many more subscribers when this is over. So if we've got 30, 40 people listening, I don't know if we do or not, I want to see 30, 40 more subscribers because, first of all, it costs you nothing. You get to watch a fun show because I think it is a lot of fun. But on top of that, you're helping out other inventors. I mean, the only way this platform is going to survive is if we get subscribers, I get a sponsor, and it can generate itself. Otherwise, I have to ask the products to pay money into it, which I'm not doing, or I'm going to have to do something else. So the only way we're going to make this work is if we all band together and help me help you. So please subscribe. Go to gadgetgameshow.com. There we go, gadgetgameshow.com. And then click on the YouTube link and then watch some episodes, like them, subscribe, hit that little bell. This way you'll know when we post some more episodes. Check it out.
Give us a really quick just overview of what the format is, what someone can expect when they see the show.
Super simple. It's sort of like Shark Tank meets What's My Line or I've Got a Secret. I got a panel of silly experts. We show a product, could be this one, for example, and then they ask yes or no questions to try to identify what the heck this is. Then at the end, if they get it, great. If not, we give out the answer. So the viewers learned about a new product, hopefully a mom and pop invention. We've had fun, hopefully getting there. And it's, within like 10 minutes, you've seen the product and you've gotten the answer and hopefully had some fun along the way. So check it out.
It is. It's a really fun show. It's fun to watch. Hi, Shay. Shark repellent attachment for your dog collar. I'm not so sure. Not broad.
No, I don't think. I don't. And again, it's. You got to keep in mind that ultimately I'm not picking it. I mean, I kind of do one narrowing down, but then the producers pick it, and they want stuff that, is going to work. And I don't think Shark.
A good connection for you, Steve, for when we come back around to summer, because they do have a product they're selling around the country, and it's a shark repellent.
Oh, I'm aware of it. I even have it in my closet there, and it's going to go on the game show eventually. So
good.
I'm with it. I know that product, and I'm a big fan of it, and it's going to stump my panel for sure. So
I know. There's no way they're going to guess.
There's no way they're going to guess this one. I'm going to win again. So that's my job, is to stump the panel. So I'm all over that product. But for a dog collar, we don't have enough dogs swimming in shark-infested waters, I don't think.
She's being silly. Carrie would like to know, do you ever repeat products? And I assume she's talking about publicity on that question.
Well, I mean, I have different venues, so I do some local station stuff, and I have some paid opportunities. The Today Show, never. Once it's been on the Today Show, even if it's been on another person's segment, it's kind of finished from the Today Show. So no, I don't repeat, and I can't even repeat local. So I kind of, once I've gone through a product, it's over.
Right. Okay. Do you work at all with toys for licensing as a product scout?
Occasionally, I have one contact in that world, so I can definitely push it off to them and see if they have any interest in it. But that's toys are maybe the craziest category in all of consumer products, because it's like, it's the secrecy and backstabbing of the CIA. I mean, I would rather be dealing with nuclear secrets with the CIA than with some toy stuff, because I've dealt with toys in the past. I used to work for a company that did a lot of toy work.
Oh, yeah.
And I can tell you, it is backstabbing, murderous behavior. They should all be ashamed of themselves. It's really terrible. I love them, but it's really a crazy. I mean, if you're looking for a good sitcom, it should really be about the toys.
Reality. Yeah, right.
It's crazy.
No,
So, yeah, it's a very tough category. I have to tell you, toys are murder, literally.
I don't know who asked the question. It just says LinkedIn user, but I hope that answers your question. So from time to time, if it's a good enough question, you can submit it to Steve. Let's go back to to my banners here. I'll pop up his information again, just so you can find him and where to submit for those of you who are just joining us or maybe who missed it earlier. Yeah. And let's see, I lost my order.
I'm looking through these chats too, but
yeah. So where was that next one? There it is. Robert asks, how about eco products?
Oh, that's a great category. And I have had that category in the Today Show. They've just basically said, like, let's do, green products. And we've done, Greenberg, green products. It seems like a fit. And yeah, I've done that a bunch of times. I usually wear a green shirt when I do it. So yeah, I've done it. Love it. I'm all for the planet. I'm hoping the planet survives. I have a vested interest in it. So yeah, I would. I'm not optimistic, but I'm hoping. So yeah, no, I'm very in favor of showcasing green products. I always try to push a green segment, but sometimes I do, sometimes don't. Sometimes I coordinate it with Earth Day, but even that, they're not. That's sometimes not the case either.
So someone doesn't have to wait until you put out the challenge of this is what we're looking for this week's segment. They can submit anything at any time and then kind of get tabled for when that segment might come up, or should they wait until they know that you're doing like a casting call, so to speak?
I think you got to wait for your casting call, because I honestly see without anywhere more than 2,500 new products a year. And I honestly don't remember even 1% of them. I mean, it's really sad to say. People say, well, what's your favorite? I mean, it just comes in and out. It's just so much stuff. It's just emails flying by. I get 300-400 emails a day.
Mindfulness.
It's just I can't keep track of it. So it's much better that if I'm asking, then respond. But to just tell me about your product, I'm like, okay, great. I usually send you a thing all about, reminding you, here's the link on my website. If you go to stevegreenberg.tv and click on get your product on TV, it explains the whole Today Show process in more detail. And I just kind of farm and review it off that way. I hope that when I do put up a topic, enough people have followed that instruction and submit. But to just submit a product, I get it. I mean, everybody does it, and I get it. But frankly, it goes in one ear, out the other, eyeball, out the other one. I just can't.
Busy guy.
And I can't retain all this information. It's just too much information.
I thought I'd share just that.
I saw that, Donna Lee. I actually saw that on the crawl over there. Donna Lee, you get my Donna, share it, tell your friends. Please, if you haven't subscribe, and hit that little bell so that every time I put up a new episode, you're told about it. So, I thank you very much. Appreciate it.
John, send in your product. Maybe you can end up on the Gadget Game Show.
Absolutely.
This has to be on the market. Okay, so let's see here. Bob says, what about featuring new patented products with prototyped ideas section that would help get followers for the Inventor 4 crowdfunding campaign?
I'm not sure I understand the sense. What about featuring new patented products with prototypes ideas? Well, I'll tell you, I mean, that's complicated. If we're talking about the game show, which I guess is what he's referring to. Yeah. So I've reached out to Kickstarter and Indiegogo. If one of them were to step up, and Start Engine, if one of them were to step up and say, look, we're going to sponsor the show and we're going to show prototype crowd-funded shows, I'm all in. Where do I sign? Let's figure this out. So I'm not saying no to that idea. However, as long as I'm not connected to Kickstarter, Indiegogo, I don't think prototypes are the way to go. I think it's much better to showcase products that viewers can actually purchase. So first of all, even for the panel to be guessing, any idea can be an idea, and that's, how can you guess what someone else is thinking? But if it's actually a product that's out on the market, then the panel has at least the possibility of having seen the product, and it makes the game more interesting. I mean, otherwise it's really like pulling nothing out of nothing. I just think it's a better show, and I think it's better for viewers if they're actual products that you can purchase. So I think that's how I feel. However, that said, if Indiegogo or Kickstarter were to step up, I would change my tune a little bit.
We need to rally around you for that. Carrie, I see your comments and questions. I'm just going to encourage you to reach out to Steve directly, either through LinkedIn or through his website and his contact to find out the answers to those questions. Dan,
I go to a lot of trade shows. I go to, I'll be at CES in January. Normally go to the hardware show, but I'm not doing it this year. I used to, for like 4 years in a row, I went to SeaTac, which is the one in Japan. So I do my share of traveling, a little bit less now. I have some business in LA, so probably in November I'll be in LA for a couple of days. So I'm still traveling around a little bit, but not as much as I did pre-pandemic.
I'll see you at CES in January.
I'm
excited to get back into the trade show business. And for those of you who are just joining us or missed it earlier, feel free to drop your questions in the comments section, and we'll get to them in the order that they come in. But it doesn't just have to be about the topic that we're talking about. All things related to inventing. If there's anything that I can help you with, or Steve, for that matter, can help you with as well today. But trade shows are such an important part of our business. And this virtual thing was okay, but it's just not the same.
No, the virtual thing doesn't cut it with me personally. And I mean, I'm a even the way my brain works and everything, when I go looking at products, I do much better, picking up the product and holding it than just looking at it. So I'm a big trade show guy. I can't wait to do it full time. I miss PepCom and Showstoppers and all that stuff, and I'll be all at those events. I find that, when I came up with this game show idea, I actually didn't come up with it for this. I really wanted to do it at trade shows. Oh. Before the pandemic, my idea was to have a stage, a thing where we could show a big projector of what the product looked like, have 4 panelists up on stage, and we play the game live, and it would be kind of an event thing and a way to launch new products and have fun doing it. Because I've gone to so many of these events where it's kind of boring, where this is the X51. And I was trying to, so I thought it'd be more fun. It's like, try to guess what it is. And so I had that idea, which honestly didn't go anywhere. And then I said, then the pandemic hit and Zoom was so big. I'm like, you know what? This game could just as easily be played on Zoom. And that's kind of how it turned into what it is. But I still am chomping at the bit to do it live on a stage. So
that would be fun.
Anybody out there who has trade show connections,
I'll be one of your guests who have to guess.
Oh, I would love it, Lisa. Nothing would make me happier. Absolutely.
So much fun.
Can cut the deal. And I'm not looking for a lot of money on it, at least in the beginning. Later on, maybe. I really want to have, they can, from the trade show perspective, they can sell the event so they can bring in some money for themselves. Mm-hmm. And we can, get some honored people up on the stage and show, 7 or 8 products. I think it'd be a lot of fun. So anyway.
So CES, Carrie, is Consumer Electronics Show. It's in January in Las Vegas. It's the world's biggest consumer electronics trade show. And backing up to Daniel, can I find a product scout in an area to go with my product? Braille Doodle, specific assistive technology for the blind and autism. Or I think, can I find a product scout?
So they're looking for a licensing deal, it sounds like, for Braille Doodle, which sounds like a very interesting product. Again, I think it's too narrow a niche for my contacts, but I'm sure there's someone out there who's, that does work in that area. Who that person is a bit of I'm not sure. Lisa?
You can turn people also, Daniel, you can turn people into product scouts. So it's the FOAF method that we've used for centuries, right? Friend of a friend. If you're talking to somebody on LinkedIn who already has those connections, offer to pay them a commission if they'll make the introduction and really walk you through that process. You don't have to find a professional product scout who's looking for those types of products, because there may not be one, especially in that category, which, as important as it is, unfortunately, is a niche that doesn't often get met, right? With a need for unmet needs, I should say. So go through LinkedIn, try and find the right people, and then ask people to help you with getting in front of the right people. Not for paying for it.
I think that's great advice. And I think going to your local inventor association is a great place to see a lot of people that you never know has what contact. That friend of a friend thing works really well there. And, I always find that sometimes the biggest enemy of the inventor is their fear of talking about the product because they're afraid someone's going to steal it. And there may be some concern about that, but the truth is I think very few people have the initiative. It's so hard to get a product launched that even if someone steals the idea, that they're not going to do anything with it. For the most part, it's just better to get out there and talk about it, I think.
Totally. It's the only way. If you don't talk, you're not going to sell.
And you're not going to improve the product too. You may have thought of everything, and then you tell your brother-in-law about it, and he says, well, shouldn't there have why isn't this chargeable? I mean, he may give you an idea like, oh, you know what? That makes it better. And as you talk about it, you're going to keep improving it. But if you don't say a word, it's just like what's going on inside your head. And that's not always the best.
I am so excited to see what's happening in the chat here. They're connecting with each other. Daniel just got connected with Carrie, who also is in that space. So yay. I hope that works out for you guys. You could do some DMing, direct messaging inside LinkedIn too, to connect and talk some more about that as well. So Allison asks thoughts on travel accessory industry. And Allison, I don't know, because we have two different segments, two different channels of thought here. One of them is on product scout and licensing, and the other is on publicity. I'm not sure which.
I mean, travel accessories, if we're talking licensing, is a little outside my area, but kind of depending on what it is, it might fall inside it. But it has to be, again, very, very consumery. It can't just be road warrior extreme. It has to be very much something that almost most people would want.
Yeah.
As far as television goes, again, travel is definitely a category that Today Show is capable of giving me, and I'd be happy to do it. So yeah, travel accessories. I've done it before in the past. I did what was it called? Skyhook or something. It's a really cool gadget that turns so you can hang your laptop or your tablet on the tray in the airplane. And I did that product on Today Show years ago. And to this day, I fly with it and use it all the time. So
super cool.
Yeah.
Allison, I see what your product is. That's awesome, by the way. Congratulations. Are you talking about licensing it, or are you talking about like being on the Gadget Game show or getting publicity for it? That's the only part I need clarification for. All right, sorry, I'm distracted. This is exciting. So in terms of the show, are there better products, better suited products for being on the program, or is it really just a mission?
I'm a little picky about the products on the game show because if a product is obviously what it is, I'm trying to find something that's obvious. So
a lock.
Yeah, I mean something like or like this is not exactly that, but this is like this holds. It doesn't take much thinking to realize this is going to hold a phone. So this is you can see it, you kind of know what it is. But things like this little clip thing, you can look at it like, what the heck is it? It has to have a mystery gadget quality to it. Or at first glance, you look at this and you don't know what it is. If it falls into that world of where visually you can't tell right away what it is, then I'm interested in the game show. But if it's if it's a light or a Bluetooth speaker or something where you look at it and you know just what it is, then it's not really such a great fit.
Christopher, I see your question/comment there. Let me know if when you say promote the product, do you mean for licensing or do you mean for sales? Are you manufacturing and distributing that product? Let me know the answer to that question and we'll address that for you. So the reason that I ask is because it obviously still has to have that entertainment value. And if they're guessing it really quick, then the show's over in a second.
So that's how the game show is. It has to be kind of a mystery gadget. Whereas on the Today Show, obviously, if it is what it is right off the bat, not a problem because that's not what the thrust of what how the Today Show works. So I think it's kind of it has to kind of your own instincts will tell you what works and what doesn't work. Like this is good for the game show, this is good for the Today Show. I mean, none of this is rocket science. It's pretty easy.
Are there products that you can't get on the Today Show, but you have a particular interest in for whatever reason that you'll bring to your all the local outlets that you're affiliated with around the country as well?
Well, I think for the local stations, I do more generalized stuff. So I do back to school, dads and grads. Sometimes I just do one called Problem Solvers. I've done green gadgets just for that, where it's kind of a very broad category, not so specific. And I'm a little more open with that. But I usually keep it to 5 products usually. And, I'm picky about it. It has to have some wow to it. It can't be something you've seen and seen and seen. It has to be something that's relatively new.
Okay. All right. So Allison's given us the information about what her product is and is wondering if it is a niche or if it's suitable for DRTV.
What is it?
I'll throw that up for you so you can take a look at that.
Okay. 2 utility patents on travel accessory that shields travelers from contact with illness causing pathogens. Airplane safeguard.
And I would say yes, that would be a niche that would not work on direct response. It also could be just challenging in general, although I'm grateful for the side effect of the whole pandemic teaching us more to be more about being healthy and safe and self-conscious about that sort of thing. But at the same time, it's still more of a trend. You're going to see that as the pandemic goes away, that's going to be less.
And I can tell you, like the Today Show, I actually have pitched a product that kind of fit into a category that I was doing, but had like a little bit of a pandemic angle to it. It was dead on arrival. They're not there to keep in the top of the show, they'll talk about pandemic news, but in my segment, they don't want people thinking about anything bad. So
that is very interesting. So they didn't, the news outlets. So if anybody listening now or in the future to this recorded has a pandemic health related kind of time sensitive, even any kind of seasonal or time sensitive sort of thing, you have to remember that in terms of publicity, it's going to be a bigger challenge to count on publicity driving any kind of marketing.
And I think the problem with the pandemic, hopefully we're looking at it in the rear view mirror, but if it comes back, then all bets are off. But assuming it's really gone, then it'll be, the products will be left behind. Not that they still aren't going to want to keep clean and whatnot, but it's not going to make as much news as it did before. I had a bunch of products that came out that were all pandemic related, and I showcased a couple of them on TV, and I put 1 or 2 of them are on the game show, but they seem dated already. We're not looking at things to help us open doors so that we don't touch it with our fingers anymore. All that stuff is not what's on top of mind anymore. And so that's what happens. Products are very timely.
Allison, each time I get more information from you, I want to have a deeper conversation. So I'm going to offer, if you go to theinventionaccelerator.com, you can see my calendar there to book a free strategy call with me. And then we can spend a half an hour on the phone and I can really unpack that and help point you in the right direction. I think that would be a better way to serve you. I love the idea of it being a pillow. And now I'm curious even more. I want to know more, but we don't have enough time. And I
think that makes a lot of sense. First of all, you're lucky that you're connected with Lisa because she's got so much information. She can really help take you to the next level, or tell you maybe not to go to the next level, but she can give you so much guidance. And let's face it, that's worth everything. So I would recommend that to anybody out there listening.
And I would be, thank you very much. I'm excited to do it too. I love having those conversations. And that stands for anybody. Go to theinventionaccelerator.com, book a free strategy call with me. If there's something you're stuck on, I promise you, I will help you get unblocked. And I have literally thousands and thousands of testimonials to back that up. I will help you. Okay, so back to Chris's question. He originally said, or Christopher, apologize. I have recycled material leash for use with medium to large dogs, unsure how to market and promote the product. And I asked, was it for sales or licensing for promotion? And he says for sales and or licensing. Sales and profit can be connected with the canine rescues and reducing impact on landfalls. So those are two very different streams of thought, Christopher. And I think the first and most important question for you to answer to yourself is, do I want to license? Am I better suited for licensing? Do I want to make and sell? Am I better suited to make and sell? And when you get in alignment with either of those two visions, I can tell you for sure a lot of the questions that you're having right now will automatically be answered just intrinsically by answering that first question. So if you're going to license, marketing and promoting it is very different than if you're going to make it and sell it.
And you should keep in mind the numbers too. I mean, a lot of people don't realize. I think a licensing deal means they still own 65% of the product, the sales. It doesn't really work that way. You're getting a small percentage. You're getting 3 to 7%, and you have to be willing to let someone else spend all the money, produce the product, advertise it, do distribution, do all that for you, but all you're going to see out of that is 3 to 7%. So that's something you have to kind of get into your head before you go into this, because otherwise you're going to go down this road only to be, hey, I want 51%. Well, it's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen in today's world.
And I prefer licensing because of the ROI, right? Which is what business is all about. I get a greater rate of return because there's a much lower risk for me involved in inventing, which is, by the way, what I love doing more than anything is fixing things. That's why I say I'll break you through those barriers if there's barriers in your way. I love solving problems, but the day-to-day tasks of bookkeeping and the janitor and the fireman and the police officer, I mean, basically what it takes to run a business, when you put all those hats on, I've tried it. It's what I did with TC Pets when I was on Shark Tank. I will never do it again. And that's my preference, but some people are built for that.
And I'm voting in the same category as Lisa. I love the creative part of it. But I'm happy to hand over, even the game show, which is sort of like my own little invention as well, and my book too. I'm thrilled if someone comes along and wants to buy the game show, let me still do it, pay me a little bit of money, and they do all the work at that end. I'm in. Just tell me where to sign, because I don't just like a licensing deal. I don't want to be doing the day-to-day grind of social media and I want to just do the job part of it. In my case, the performance side of it, and that's it.
Yeah, so, and that's the word too. As soon as it started to feel like a grind, I should have known internally it's time for me to go back to licensing. As soon as it started to wear on me and I wasn't sleeping at night, I was crying myself to sleep sometimes because of the stress, stuff stuck at customs. Oh my God, the issues that I had. Anyway, I digress. Deborah says, hi, Lisa and Steve, I have a patent I would like to license outright. Can you help with this? It's for home, beauty salons, healthcare, hotels, etc. Do you scout? Can you scout? I think Steve would have to see it to know if it fits the criteria for mass appeal, which is where he has the most success with as a product scout licensing. Where I could help you would be potentially in pointing you in the right direction for which types of companies are best matched for the type of product, and then how to effectively communicate your story, your message, your wow factor, all of that to get them interested, and then help you negotiating with that. So
and it sounds like hers might be like a business to business kind of thing where her product goes to, and if that's the case, that's definitely outside of my area.
Or maybe it's both, right? You could have streams of income. You have one commercial play and you have one consumer play, and they're both working simultaneously, making you money. I've double dipped. In fact, on this one right here, I actually got paid 3 times on it. Sprayer, I know, crazy, right? So I break the rules.
That's Lisa, the rule breaker.
That's right. That's me. You make very little with licensing. So you know what? There's an argument to be made for both, right? It's a risk reward.
And who you license with. So
you
can get 7% with one company, but they don't have any sales. So you're getting nothing. Or you can get 3% from a company that knows what they're doing, and they have zillions of sales, and you actually get real money. It's a lot of it is who the company is, what their track record is, where they're going to do distribution. Those are all questions you have to answer and know before you go any further.
And I've never made less than 60 a year. So when you say you make very little, relatively, it depends on who you ask. 60 might be a lot of money to someone. It might be someone else. To me, at 23 years old, making $60,000 a year that I didn't have to work for or show up for every single day, it was just purely passive. That was a lot of money. And I've never made less than that on a single invention. So give that some thought. Well, that I've licensed specifically.
Yeah.
Lost money on TC Pets. Julia, I'm just gonna, because you're so kind to do this, I just have to throw it up here. I never toot my own horn, so I'm gonna let you do it for me. Lisa's program is very worth it. She's amazing and has a wealth of knowledge, information, videos, contacts, and step-by-step plans. She truly loves and cares about her students, and that is so true. I love you all, whether you're my student or not, just so you know. But I do really care about you.
And her testimonial is backed up by others and others and others. I mean, there's a lineup of people who are crazy about Lisa, including me. So anyone out there who's on the fence, don't be on the fence. She's definitely well worth your time and money to get some info from her.
And you can get a free strategy call with me by just going to the website. And I'll point you in the right direction. If we're a fit, we can talk about working together. If not, I will give you solid free advice. Okay, so Christopher, thanks for the response. Not interested in manufacturing. So he definitely wants to stick with licensing. And he's more into, so sticking with that. And that was the canine product. So the question is really about marketing and how to get it in front of the right people. And it used to be that, you know, trade shows were a great way to get in front of the company and pitch them, but you can't necessarily do that if they're shut down. The pet industry is blowing up right now. I can tell you, Christopher, I'm hearing about licensing deals left and right. They're aggressive. And I think it's because it's become so crowded. They're looking for that differentiation, that competitive advantage that you can bring with your novelty, the novelty of your wow product, right?
And I mean, the reason the Today Show picked Pet Gadgets is because, you know, they're trying to stay on top of the trends, and they see there's this huge dog cat trend right now, so they're jumping on it. That's why that's been assigned to me. Yeah. So I think you're in a good space.
Yeah. So trade shows, go to the stores themselves, find the products the lines that yours would fit nicely in. So if it's a leash, you would look at all the leashes, find who the manufacturers are, look at the back of the tags, see who the distributor is, go research that company. If they allow you to submit to them or connect with them on LinkedIn. A lot more information on that, by the way, in the free course that's listed on the scroller here. If you go there, it's a 1-hour free course, but that'll walk you through this process and how to get in front of them. It sounds like you've got the education. Maybe you just need more of the motivation or the incentive to know that you've got this. Dude, you can do this. Just start talking to companies. Fail fast, fail forward. You know, you want to fail in a smaller company, take the risk if you're really nervous about reaching out and that's what mentally is holding you back. Just go risk it on someone you're prepared to lose that you can practice on and then move on. And you'll always be afraid. The fear doesn't go away. You just learn to do it afraid.
As with everything in life, practice really does make a difference. I mean, practice really does make someone better. So practice.
So I hope that helps, Christopher. If not, please book a call with me and I'll help you out further. Joel asks, typically, and we're running out of time, so we'll just take a couple more here. Typically, our royalties, for example, 5% tied to retail or wholesale price point. And I can quickly answer that one. It's based on whatever that company that you licensed it to sells it for. So if they are a wholesaler, then you get paid on the wholesales. If they are a retailer, they're selling direct to consumer, you get paid on that. If they do both, then there's probably going to be a variation on your agreement that stipulates what the percentage is on one versus the other. It may be the same number, it may not be. I know that in direct response, often you don't even get paid on the direct sales at all anymore. There's zero royalties. They wait to pay you until they get into the retail store on the as seen on TV category on the shelves.
Yep.
And they pay you on that. So now you're getting paid on wholesale instead of on retail, even though they did all that promotion and got those orders.
And before television, they do it online, and you never get paid on that. So they have some sort of sale going online, and they're getting sales, but you don't see anything on that until it gets to Bed Bath or something like that.
It's been a couple of years, but I have negotiated the online sales because if it was, but there was a stipulation there that it had to be found through online searches and not having come directly from the television or radio ads. And the reason, for our audience sake, the reason that they justify not paying you on those direct sales is because it's a break-even proposition for a direct response company. They spend as much ad dollars on it as they make on the product in terms of profitability. So it's a net situation. they don't truly become profitable on a product until they hit retail, and now they're in tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of stores, and all of those doors are what drive the revenue that you get paid on. So that's the justification behind it.
And they almost justify it also that all these sales that are going on online are research. It's the way they can prove that this product sells, so they can go to Target and say, look, we have these kinds of sales online. So that was all part of their setup, even though they did make some money. But like you said, it cost them a lot of money to do that, to get to Target or to Walmart or whoever they're going to land their deal with. So that's why all of that pre-sale stuff, you're not getting any money from it.
Right. And they can argue that the TV ads or the radio ads pushed people to the website. And so they still paid for that traffic versus the organic traffic that they might have gotten just from traditional online sales. But like, so if you license to an Amazon reseller, then they're going, or retailer, excuse me, then that's direct to consumer as well. Now you're going to get the full royalty on all of them. But of course, you only get the distribution that they have. So depending on how much volume they do, that may or may not be a good outlet for you. But that's a little bit off point. I just wanted to share that. Okay, so just before we wrap up, let me take one last look. Thank you, everybody who's saying goodbye. I'm so glad you all joined us. Yep, and before we go, another approach is
I don't know how many people are here, but I want every single one of you to subscribe to What the Heck Is That? Go to gadgetgameshow.com, click subscribe, hit that little bell. There'll be 4 more episodes going up in the next couple of days. So, help me help you. Thank you.
So yes, the gadgetgameshow.com has a link to YouTube, and it's on YouTube where you're going to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and of course, like the videos, and be honest, like the ones you really like.
Right. And give me comments.
Yeah, and leave those comments.
Yeah, what do you like about it? I read them. So please do.
Those suggestions make a difference. They do for me too on my YouTube channel, which I don't even know if I have. I think I do. I'll put that up as I wrap up here. There's my YouTube channel. So if you'd like more free videos, you can always check them out there. I have quite a few now. It's been adding up this year. I've been doing one a week. And Steve, I can't possibly thank you enough. You're always so much fun to talk to.
I love this. It was like visiting Lisa. What could be better than that? Just more fun. We had other people listening to us, but this is just like on the phone. So I couldn't ask for a nicer way to spend the afternoon. So this was wonderful. Thank you all for your great questions. I really appreciate it. Feel free to reach out. Again, stevegreenberg.tv is the website, or gadgetgameshow.com. Check that out, please. And thank you very much, Lisa.
I don't even have to say it because you're doing such a good job. Next time, I think I'm going to have you pitch me too.
Happy to do it.
Love you all. Have a wonderful rest of your week. I'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks again so much, Steve.
Thank you. Bye, Lisa. Bye. Take care, everybody.